Okay, this is Module 3 Video 2, and we're going to continue doing some styling for the site. And the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and put in the fave icon. The fave icon is the little piece of code, the picture that's going to show here, and I'll show you on my screen here like this. This little icon right here, you can see that's just a page that doesn't really have one associated, and we're going to change that. When you pull up, of course, like best roofing estimates, you'll see this little fave icon in the tab on your browser. So we're going to pull that in for this site here, and so I'm going to use mine. We do this by going to appearance and then customize, and it's going to pull down like this. Click on site identity, and it's going to have the site title, and right here the site icon. We're going to select icon, and I'm just going to drop this. It's going to be a square one. You notice that it said 512 by 512, usually just a piece of the logo that I've cut out. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in the alt text here. Virginia Beach. I think I spelled that right, even though it's got a red line under it. Fave icon. Let's see. Yep, that's great. No caption or description. All right. Select that. All right, and that's going to now be the fave icon that's going to show up on the browser tabs for this, and we can go ahead and publish that. All right, and then we're going to exit out of this. We don't need anything else in here for now. We'll just leave this, close out of here. Okay, and now we're going to start styling our theme. And go down and hover over the UDesign, and we're going to go ahead and click on settings, and this will be the theme page. There's documentation and a support forum, video tutorials, and all kinds of stuff up here. I've used this enough. I don't need any of that. I'm just going to close that down. General options here. I'm going to pull in my logo for this site, and the dimensions for my logo are 225 by 85, and I'm just gonna go ahead and upload this, and I'm gonna drop my logo in here. And let's see here, I don't need that, but I can go ahead and put that in. Go ahead and choose that. And in these link dimensions here, we now want to put in the dimensions of the logo. So as I mentioned, mine is 225 by 85, and so I'm going to go ahead and leave that one as 85, but I want to make sure that those link dimensions match the dimensions of my photo. And you should be able to see that. I'll pull this into view. You should be able to see that here. If you click on these and you have this information on the right, you'll be able to see the dimensions here. 225 by 85 in the right sidebar there. All right, oops, drag that out of the way. All right, then you can leave any of this. We're going to go ahead and leave it to the left, and 6 pixels from the top is fine. We can save the changes in this section. And now if you want to see what that looks like, we can click over over here. Here's our tab, and you can see that the logo is up, and I know you can't see it because it's outside the view window, but now you can see this fave icon is up at the top on the browser tab as well. So those two things have been done now. We've got the logo uploaded in the top right. It's looking good there. And then we've got the fave icon up in the bar. and we can go back in here. We don't want a tagline. We can just leave that. The height here of this top area, that's this top section, and we want to leave enough space here, obviously, for the logo and the menu. And so we need to make sure that that top section is big enough for that. And so we want to put in here a height that is at least a little bigger than the height of our link dimensions, our logo here. And in this case, 110 looks pretty good here on this. Looks like the menu fits underneath this just fine. And so I'm not seeing any issues here where this logo is having trouble fitting on here. So that's fine. We'll leave that at 120, 110 here. That is 25 pixels taller than what the logo is. So we'll leave that. We don't want the search box, so I'm gonna disenable that. We also don't want the toll-free number. We can get rid of that. Page peel, no. Feedback button, no. You can leave all of that off. Enable pretty photo, that's fine. Theme dark rounded, that's fine. We'll just leave that as is. And disable the mini gallery of thumbnails that overlays the preview image on mouse over. We'll just leave that. Show breadcrumbs, yes, leave that on. And schema.orgs tags, go ahead and enable that. This is fine. Retina, smooth scrolling, that's fine. We do want to enable custom CSS, and so we're going to go ahead and save changes on that. And that will enable our custom CSS styles. And so now we can go ahead and close up this general sections and go to the menu options. And we do want to fix that main navigation bar to stay on top. So go ahead and click that. That's going to give us that floating menu at the top after we scroll. So that's our stay on top menu. We don't need an additional logo for that. That's fine. And we can add a shadow for that. Disable main menu alignment. I'm going to align this to the, I'm going to put it center. Let's put the menu center for now here. Vertical position allows us to move it up or down. It should be fine for now. Submenu, that's fine. Enable drop shadow for the submenu and remove the borderline located under the menu. Yes, I want to remove that borderline, and you'll see that borderline right here and on our page right here, this borderline right under there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and I'm going to go ahead and save these changes that we've made so far in this section. Scroll that up, and I'll go and refresh so you can see what has happened here. Okay, so you can see the line moved. We got rid of the phone number and stuff from the top right, and now our menu is aligned to the center where our menu items are here in the center. All right, going back to the styling, the layout options. All right, so page title. In this case, we want to remove the title completely. So here it tells us what's happening, display the title immediately under. Here, remove title, it's SEO friendly, it removes it visually, but then it still gets served as an H1 heading, all right? And so that's what's really happening with this when it says title, it's the H1 heading. And then to remove the H1, we want to provide our own H1. And so we're gonna remove this title completely and update that because we want to provide the H1. All right, sidebars are an ancient thing that most people are on mobile and stuff like that, so we don't want to design for sidebars. So make sure to click this to remove the sidebar from the default page template. That way, basically all the pages that we're building don't have sidebars, and you probably noticed that essentially none of our sites have sidebars anymore. If you look at some of our super old sites or some of them that we have purchased and haven't rebuilt, some of those still might have a sidebar on it here and there, but we've systematically eliminated them as much as possible. I'm going to go ahead and save changes in here, and this width stuff looks fine. Content width let's see, this is out to 960, so I'm going to take this content width out to 900 pixels and save those changes. And we'll see what that looks like. Let's go over here and refresh this. And I think what we should notice is that the width of these lines, that we should have a little more space there. And here the logo, which you're going to notice, is going to move out a little bit to the left. Things are going to get a little wider here, I think. Gives us a little more operating room in the width there. Okay, 960, that's fine. Okay, and we can go ahead and close that. Font settings. This you can simply go with essentially what we've used before. Here you can check out the other sites. It doesn't matter too much what we're using for fonts, but we just want stuff that looks good and consistent. If we flip over to HVAC service cost, for example, you can see this one just uses the Arial at 18, Arial at 17 for the main menu, and then headings of a Tahoma at a 1.0 and a 1.3 line height. Best roofing estimates, enables the Google Fonts, and then uses an Open Sans normal 400, Latin 17 pixel size, line height of 2, main menu of Verdana 15 pixels, and Tahoma 1.2 coefficient on that, and a 1.4 line height for headings. And over here, this is Pest Extinct, also enabled the Google Fonts and has Open Sans and Arial and Verdana. And you can see what these look like, the different fonts in here. So this is the Pest, and I really like that mixture. I also like the Best Roofing Estimates mixture of fonts, and HVAC is very clean and great looking as well. So really difficult to go wrong with any of these. Just use your judgment and discretion, but we want them clean, open, sans. So we want them to have sans serif, which means none of the curly cues and stuff off on the end. The letters don't connect, they're cut off clean. These are best for display fonts on electronic screens. Serif fonts have more curlies and things like that off the letters, will be better for in print themselves, but we want to use these sans serif fonts of different various sorts. I really like the look of Pest for this right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just basically copy this, but I'm going to make my font size a little bigger. I think that's a little small. So Open Sans, Arial, and Verdana is what I'm going to run with here. So let's go ahead and update that, enable my Google Fonts. Need to get down to the Open Sans here. Okay, Open Sans, and it was a normal 400, Latin 17, Latin, and I'm going to go up to 18 because I think it was a little smaller than what I'd like over here. Not bad. I like that actually. That's fine. 17 pixels is good there. Then we went with Arial and Verdana. That's fine. 16. The menu doesn't need to be very big there. And Verdana here. Verdana's a great font for this. And 1.0 and line height. Let's see if I like that for these titles. So this is the titles is what we're looking at, and then the space between the lines is what we're looking at, that line height type of thing. So I do like that. So the 1.0 size coefficient is not making it bigger These would make it smaller than normal size. These would make it larger than normal size. Well, 1.0 is good. And then a line height of 1.3, I liked that for the headings. So that was good. So that'll work. And I will go ahead and save those changes. And pull that up. Then we get into the custom colors. And here you're going to want to enable this. Go ahead and click update. And then what you'll see happen here is a bunch of these drop down and become available to you to custom color stuff. So once again, you can look at similar sites with the colors. And this is HVAC and best roofing estimates. You can see them in here. And of course, pest. Let's open those custom colors and take a look at link colors and things like that. So we're going to be pretty close to the color scheme of HVAC service cost with the site that I'm building right now. Has a lot from here. If you look, you know, a lot of the reds and blues and that type of thing. So pretty similar color scheme here, and I've changed up the blues and stuff a little bit here, but the pretty similar color scheme to what we see on HVAC service cost, and so I'm gonna go ahead and use quite a bit of that. And so I'm going to open up and use some of my same colors that I've used for let's say the headers, and remember we put that in the CSS style theme, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. I'm going to open it in a new tab so that I can have it for reference, and I can just click back and forth between them, and I want to make sure that I have this and that it's working good. So I'm going to go ahead and take this H1 color and see about using that for my link colors. Yeah, that looks like a good link color. So that's going to be my H1, and that's also going to be the links then throughout the site. I like that. It's a nice blue. It's going to show up well against a light background and a dark background. My body text, this is looking a little light, and you can reference some of these other sites. Again, body text looks like we left that one kind of where it was, but I'm going to darken this a little bit. Link hover color is fine. Headings color should be fine like that. Top area background color. Okay, this is an almost white, but it's not a white. I want that to be all Fs, FFF, that's all white. And top area text color, yeah, we want that to be white as well. Okay, well, that whole thing, I want that all white. Background color for the main menu, I want this to be full white, not an off-white, and I don't want any opacity on there, so that's the transparency, and you can see from 0 fully transparent to 1 fully opaque. We'll just leave it. Let's see, link color. This is the color of the main menu links, and I'm gonna just save what we've done up to this point, and we can look at this, and now I'm gonna refresh. Okay. And you can see we've got a little change to the fonts and stuff like that. And you can see the links have changed color down here. My menu links have not changed color. And you can see that my normal ones here, this is the active in the orange, but this is the normal menu items is going to be this dark gray. I like that just fine, but I don't want this orange here on that. And so as you can see, the link color here, that's fine, that 555, but I don't like this for the active link color in the menu. Instead, I would much prefer to have either this blue or my red from my let's see, I believe that is an H3 red. So we can save that and just take a look at what it looks like in the blue over here. There we go. All right, so now the active link color matches the links down here, or to differentiate it, I can use this red. There we go, and save those changes. And now you can see that's the page we're on. I like that in red, I think, so I'm gonna put it in red. I like that a lot. You can just use whatever color you like, but probably from those heading colors that you've chosen, that all 4 of those heading colors should work together well in this. H1, H2, H3, H4. Those should all be designed to work together and look good together. You can see the reds, and the red and the 2 blues that I've got here look quite good. And this red, that's from an H3 header. Now it's this active link. It's also the red in the logo. All right, so I've used those, and the blue in the logo is also this header blue. It's an H2 header blue. So gives it a very consistent look and feel throughout the site. So there's not a lot of clashing colors, very unified in the colors. All right, so let's go back here, top area background. All right, we did that active link color. And let's take this, and this was for this drop down menu link hover color, this was a variation off that orange, and so now I'm just gonna make it a variation off of this red. Just make it a lighter red. I'm just gonna paste that in there and then just drag it up there, so that'll be fine. Background for the drop down, that's fine. All right, background color for secondary menus doesn't really matter too much. Those will be fine. Menu link hover color, I'd rather have this be this hover color of red, just that lighter version of red. Page title color, that's fine. Title background, let's see, header slider background and main content area background. I'm gonna just change this to all white here, have all of these be FFF, enter. Oops. I don't know why that didn't change, but let's go like that. All right, title color, text color, background, homepage. I don't think we really put anything in this section, but again, we want those all Fs. Bottom background color, again, if there's anything that's kind of an off-white, we'll change that. Titles is fine. Link hover color, I'm gonna again grab this from this red, and then the footer. Okay, so the footer is important. This is going to be a darker colored footer, and I'm going to lighten that just a smidge. All right, and text color is fine, but this links in the footer is not. That's not going to be great. I want something that's going to stand out, and so I'm going to go ahead and grab my what should be this kind of light yellow orange type of thing here. Yeah, all right, so that's going to look good and really stand out, I feel like, in that footer. And when they hover on that, I'm going to be consistent and just get this link hover color from up here as well. Yeah, and I think those look very nicely together. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. We'll go over here, and you'll be able to see the updates to this. And boom. Okay, so now you can see the link color, and yeah, it lights up red when we hover over it. That's awesome. I like that a lot. I don't know if I like the hover in these as much. It doesn't really jump out at you when you hover over those because they just turn grayed out. I think I would rather them turn dark blue when we hover over them. So let's do that. Let's change it to this blue. That's my H2, and so grab that. And as you can see, a lot of this is just playing around with this. I want to go to the main menu colors and hover link color. This is where it's just turning that light gray. I'd rather have it turned to blue, I think. Find a save changes over here. All right, yeah, that looks much better. I like that a lot better, where it turns blue when they hover over it. So it's an active link, it's red, they're already there. And these ones will turn blue when they click on it. And then when they're on that page, if it's in this menu, it's gonna display as red up there, showing the page that they are currently on. Yeah, I think this looks really sharp, really jumps out, having this red and the yellow being the links. So I really like that. You could also use this light blue down here for links. That would be fine. It would stand out really well and be really sharp down there. So you could have the links color be consistent throughout the site. But for whatever reason, I'm really liking having this yellow down here and then have it turn red when they hover over it. All right, and so I'm going to close out this colors section. Again, if you get stuck, you're not sure which ones to change, that type of thing, find a similar site. Again, this is the HVAC, and I could have pulled from here basically to look at what was changed from the default colors that were already in there and see how it changed them. But you can see the HVAC here. This does turn light gray when you hover over it. You can see I've used the red for the active link color, which is similar to the logo color red there in the bottom. You can see I've used a light text, and then the links are the light blue. They turn red when you hover over it. So you're just playing with things and making some style choices, and we're essentially pulling from the different colors that we're already using for the headers. And again, you can use and find and create those color combinations at your discretion, but we like to have something bright that go well together, and usually start with the logo colors and then play off of those. Best roofing estimates here, again, would be another good reference, and you can see how those colors work in the site. And let's get down to the footer down here, and you can see here I went with turns a little darker orange, which looks like it's been used in this quote smaller get quotes button here as well. But we've got the two different oranges in the Best Roofing Estimates logo here, the dark orange and the light orange, and we've used both of those throughout the site, and both of those are in these links here in the footer. So that you can once again just look at a site that's up and reference that if you get stuck and need some help. But I think this is coming along well. I like the color combinations that we have here. We're going to come back and shoot more of these settings here. Now, I'll go ahead and wrap that up in this video because there's not a lot here. This video is getting a little long, but we'll go in here. So we don't want any front page sliders for now, so we're not really using sliders. We want to save and activate no slider there. And then you're going to see this title of home. Now we want to make sure that we delete that and save those changes. Otherwise, it, for whatever reason, on the front page is going to use that home word as the title, and it gets served up as an H1, which we don't want home being served as an H1. So make sure to set this to no slider, save it, then delete that, then save those changes. We're going to close that up. Portfolio section, we don't need to worry about that. We're not doing any portfolio anything. Blog section, we just want to make sure that we get rid of the sidebar. So choosing the position of sidebar doesn't matter because we're going to get rid of it. All right, and so excerpt length is fine here, and all that you can kind of leave that stuff out. We can leave off the author name. We don't need an author box here on our thing. We don't need tags. Archive. Comment text field to the bottom. Yes, we definitely want the comments. And no, we'll leave that. Okay, the comments are still there. It's just the text field is above where they fill in their name, email, and website, so that's fine. Comments are closed. No, we'll leave that Okay, so here's the option that we really want: remove the sidebar from blog pages. All right, this is the important piece. We want to get rid of that. We also want to remove the sidebar from archive pages, so that we don't care so much. Remove sidebar from single post view pages. That's very important as well. All right, and single view post metadata location. This is the location of the block of containing information about the author, date, categories, comments in a single view post. Yes, we want that at the bottom, so you can leave that. We don't want any of that stuff up at the top of our articles getting in the way of the content and stuff. We can show previous and next on posts, but in this case, I'm going to leave it off. It doesn't really do much of anything for us in this case because we read our posts based on topics. So we'll leave that off. Post image in single view, and we're just going to leave that off here. Here we might change this on at times. This if we enabled this section, we can change the dimensions of what's going on, and where we would see that is if we go to the blog. It's these photos that show up here like this on the blog. And so that's one example. Here's another example. All right, where these photos are showing up here on the blog. And let's go, is the Learning Center? Yeah. And so here you can see these. So this is the kind of standard default. This is how they're going to show, how the pictures are going to show up. And otherwise we could change it to be something more like this. We can set our own dimensions and everything if we want. So that's what that is. Here we can go look at how this is set up down here. So you can see it's been selected in 1280 by 720 and it's centered there. So that's what's going on with that, and in this case I don't really care. I'm just going to leave it. So let's just save the changes there. Again, that's a site by site. You can decide on that. What do you want to do with the blog there? Contact page. We don't need a contact page, so you can just leave that. We'll build our own content page separately, and that'll be just configured completely off of this. So it's separate from what this says, a contact page. If we have a contact page, we'll build it out just like a normal page, and it won't be this. Footer options. Okay, so this is a somewhat important section, and we'll come back and fill in quite a bit of this a little later. But you will see here, let's see, HVAC service cost. Footer options. All right, you're going to see that we put in some things here to put our menus and all the logo and everything like that down in here. And so like this on the footer here, this is the styling. So HVAC service cost is laid out this way, and we could simply go through and style it, basically like copy and paste and then just change out what we need in there. If we look at the Wayback Machine, let's look at what this footer looks like. There wasn't much going on for the footer on this one, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and make it look a lot more like the footer here on HVAC service cost, or BRE is essentially the same, and pest is essentially the same. So we'll come back and style this a little later. For right now, we can just put the site name in here. Quality Roofing, Virginia Beach, and we'll leave that. All right, back to the top link, this angle up icon, that's fine. We do not want to show this is probably powered by WordPress. We'll uncheck that. We don't want to check this. We don't want to show our RSS links in the footer or comments. And we don't need a sticky footer. That'll mess with some things. So we're going to go ahead and save those changes. And again, we'll come back and fill in stuff here, and that'll end up looking very much like this for HVAC service costs to make our footer look more like this. And so we'll come back and take some of this, but not right now. So go ahead and close that up, and then the responsive layout. It's an important section. Go ahead and click Enable Responsive Layout. And this is going to allow the site to resize for mobile phones, tablets, that type of thing. And so we want to make sure that we enable that. The logo stuff, we can leave it. Our logo should be fine for use on the responsive stuff, so it's not a problem. Remove the secondary menu slider. That off, actually. Remove all background images. No, we'll leave that. Responsive menu, just 2 versions, and you can start at breakpoint 1, or we can fix the position of responsive menu 2. Responsive menu 1 just doesn't come with any real options. So breakpoint 1, 960 to 720, that's a little big for that. So we'll leave that, it'll be at 2, and that's fine. Let's see, enabled pinch to zoom. This is another thing that's very important. That way they can zoom, they can pinch in and out. So that's good. And then the disable pretty photo, we're gonna go ahead and disable this below 600. That should be fine. Go ahead and save that and close that up. I just like to click save changes on this. And then, yep, okay. So now we are going to refresh this. There we go. All right, and so now let's go, and if you are in Chrome, this is Control-Shift-I, and it will bring up this box down here, the elements and sources. If you click on the little device thing to the left here, if your setup looks like this, then it'll give you the options to see this in different mobile. I leave it on iPhone 5 SE. That's essentially the smallest. I'm going to refresh this to make sure it's pulling up the mobile view, and you can see the logo's fine for this mobile view. I'm probably going to get rid of some of the space between here. That's the menu option right here that we chose, so that'll work. That's fine, and this is just what it's looking like. You can see the text is wrapping now nicely. And so obviously we have a lot of work to do on the site to get it looking like anything, but for now it shows up fine. The text wraps in mobile, resizes everything. Our logo is fine. It's plenty small enough to fit on this, and so that is no problem. Go out of this, close that. All right, and so that concludes the initial UDesign theme settings. It was a bit of a longer video. In the next video, then we will start to go in here and edit this home page, get a little more of our text and things in here. All right, this ends the second video in Module 3 on starting to style the site.